Marc Warnke here with PackGoats.com. I got Thorn here again, my trusty Thorn, and I want to show you why we did all that we did with the saddle, so that you know why you're spending good money on some of the top gear that the industry has ever seen. The problems we were trying to solve was chafing and comfort for the goat, because again, you start putting hundreds of miles on these guys, they need a comfortable fitting saddle to perform for you. They just do. The example that I like to give people, come here buddy, is that last year elk season, I did about 130-ish miles, I think it was 136 in the month of September in about 18, 19 days. This year I did 187 in this 19 days distinctly. Last year I had sore goats. This year my goats were awesome at the end of the month. No soreness, no chafing, no nothing, no problem. So I know what we're doing is not only analytically it's working. I mean, I knew we were solving the problems right in our mind, but now we got hundreds and hundreds of miles on the saddle. The only changes we made this year, none of these major designs, we changed an angle here and we beefed up the saddle's aluminum. And we did that just to make it that much more bomb-proof. And you're going to see it's just a saddle that's built to last a lifetime and to be comfortable on any goat you fit it to. So this one's already fitted to Thorn. So I'm going to break down the saddle and its individual components. One of the things that sets this design apart from anything else out there is the yoke. With a goat, the problem is when you have a breast collar, that breast collar constantly wants to fall down on them. So the only way you keep it up is with pressure. And then that pressure, your goats will literally be bald all the way through here. The whole, after they have any kind of miles, all their hair will be gone. And that's obviously not comfortable for the goat. And it often ends up being kind of a choking mechanism. This one, because of the way the pressure is distributed, it pulls straight back. And we've had no issues with it. It works awesome. This yoke design, it was a guess. I wonder if it'll work. It was Matt's original idea, and it worked. It worked beautifully. Solved all the problems that we were having with breast collar designs. As far as we come back to how the cinch functions, it also functions extremely well. Come this way a little bit, buddy. Come on, come this way. Good boy. The cinch functions super, super well. It's a double cinch, which is definitely the best. It fits. The other thing is most front cinches are mounted here on the saddle. And because we mounted it up here, what happens now is finally, and I mean finally, the cinch comes down to a natural position that's proper. The proper natural cinch position is a hand behind that shoulder. Well, the problem is to do that when the cinch is clear back here, you always had to angle it up and it always snuggled forward and it never fit right, ever. It was such a pain. This is the only saddle out there that the cinch position is properly placed to fit this goat right. The back cinch is really great. When you fold that front cinch forward that far, you have to have something on the back side to still keep that saddle down. And that's where this back side of this cinch comes in. Not only does it give it a second secure spot, but it also hopes to hold that back end of the saddle down and to create equal distribution across it. At the same time, you're creating two insertion points for our pannier sets, because when you put the panniers on these, what happens is they hang and then they click into this. So now they are held this way as well. So when they jump over a log, that pannier doesn't pop up. So if you really want the ultimate design, the panniers that we make are made to work with these saddles as well. Now they'll work with any saddle, but they're made to intricately work with this saddle design. Now let's go to the actual saddle itself and how this portion works. Come on, Thorn, let's move this way, buddy. Come here. Good boy, right there. So the upper portion of this design is the reason we went with this is that we have an animal that is very, very good at going underneath things, right? They can climb under and they learn how to do it. When you have the sawbuck sticking up off the top, what happens, they're about, by the way, over 4 inches higher. It's about this much higher is where a standard sawbuck would sit. It ends up being this big thing that they constantly get hooked on trying to go underneath logs. So by pulling the ears to each side, what we did is we created a much lower profile. When the panniers are on here, they stack in like right here, and the entire profile is way, way lower. And so that is a huge functioning piece. The other side is that the actual pannier mounts to the opposite side this one mounting to this side, and it allows us to work these two panniers together on top as well as anchoring them down below. And there's more on that in the pannier video, but they work super, super well. And then the last piece is the britchin. Now the britchin is another constant source of trouble, and what most people do is they put felt back here. When they put felt on their britchin, what ends up happening is it grabs the hair and eventually balls it up, and again, you get a huge chafe back here. Most goats by the end of the season with a standard britchin will have a big bald spot all the way across their butt. Britchins are very hard to fit, and again, because a goat, their saddle always wants to ride up onto their withers, you have to have a good britchin system, and there has to be tension back here. And this one, instead of getting it through a lot of tension, which it doesn't necessarily need, but it's also slick, so when it does go back and forth, it literally glides back and forth, and it leaves that hair alone, and you won't have that chafe. We just haven't had any of that issue down here. Now, we still haven't quite figured out how to keep some of the chafe happening off of here, but I find that it only happens in certain goats in how their rump is angled. I haven't figured out how to solve that issue yet. We've tried lots of different things. It hasn't worked, but it's been so minimal. The overall design has been just fantastic, and again, the least amount of chafe I've ever seen. One last thing that I want to say about this saddle that makes a tremendous difference. Because of how the fit works, how functional all these individual components are, what past saddle designs have always done is relied on cinch pressure to hold this saddle in place. And so you have just reefed on the goat. I mean, reefed on the goat to create enough cinch pressure to keep that saddle from climbing up or climbing back or moving or sliding or just being a pain. This saddle fits so well, this yoke fix functions so well, this britchin functions so well. What we've done now is we've taken the pressure off the need to create a lot of cinch pressure. This doesn't have to be super tight. I like a good hand to at least 3 fingers under there. Don't make this be something that sucks their guts in. That's super uncomfortable. Imagine yourself trying to hike all day long with 50 pounds of pressure sitting on your chest. It's not good for them. It's uncomfortable. But again, that's how we overcame poorly fitting saddles in the past, was with massive cinch pressure. But with this saddle, you just don't need it. So those are some of the aspects of this design that we're really, really proud of, and we do believe we're just one of the best choices out there. All right, so one of the questions I get is how easy is it to put it on and off? Very simple. So I'll just quickly show you. I teach you how to fit this in another video. Come here, Thorn. It's okay. So we're just going to put it on real quick and just show you how fast it is and simple. So you always start at the cinch. Then I always set down the britchin. Then we go with the yoke. So that's on. Clip, 4 clips. And that's off. So that's how easy it is. Hope that's helpful. We hope you enjoy the saddle. I hope that answers a few questions for you. If you have anything else, please message me direct or call direct. I'd be glad to be helpful with anything. PackGoats.com.